So I know you want to travel the world, you want to see new places, you want to get new stamps on your passport, but you don't want to go broke doing that. You want to be able to save money and still level up while engaging in new experiences. I got you. On this channel, we talk about how to save, invest, and optimize your portfolio so that you can work on compounding your wealth while collecting those stamps. If you're new here, please click like and subscribe to join our community where we level up financially and see the world. Okay, guys, let's get right into it. So let me get clear about something up front. I have always been committed to financial literacy. I've always wanted to, have financial freedom. I've always been into the FIRE movement, this idea of retiring early or even getting to a place where I feel comfortable enough to step away from work and not feel like I'm obligated to go to work each and every single day. I've always been dedicated to the idea of what freedom, money could do for me. The ability to take a month or two off and travel the world. The ability to be paid while I'm sleeping. This has always been something that I've been committed to, but I didn't want to do this at the cost of my desire for travel. I have never been the person that felt like I wanted to sacrifice travel to be wealthy. I've thought about that many times. Hey, what if I just cut out all of these trips for the year or don't travel? I would be able to save that much more. And vice versa. I've never been the person that wanted to just focus on travel and sacrifice my wealth. I want to do both. I've always been the person that wanted to do both. And I'm here to tell you that it's possible. It is possible to have a balance between focusing on financial freedom and building your wealth, but also being able to travel the world and collect stamps. In order to do this, I set up systems in my accounts that allow me to be able to commit to both things in a way that is equal and balanced and makes sense to me. And in this video, I'm going to teach you how I do that. One thing that I always take seriously in adopting is rather than asking myself, can I afford this trip? I ask myself, how can I afford this trip? What can I do differently to make this trip fit into my financial plan? And that is what shifted everything for me. I don't approach travel from a place of deficit where I feel like I don't have any money. What am I going to be able to do to be able to travel? How am I going to be able to afford this trip? I don't put myself into that mindset. I tell myself that money is abundant. It comes to me and I have the option to dedicate it to financials, or I can also dedicate it to travels. I can do that in a way that is balanced. The first thing that I do to be able to build my net worth all while traveling the world is I make travel a priority. Travel needs to be a priority in your life if you're going to be able to manage it and incorporate it into your financial plan. So by making it a priority, what this looks like for me is before the year even starts, I'm already thinking about what countries I'd like to hit, what is going to be affordable for me to travel to in the next year based on my financial circumstances. So the first thing that you need to do if you want to build your net worth all while traveling is you need to make travel a priority. You need to tell yourself that even though I am building wealth and I'm trying to get somewhere financially, I am still going to be committed to travel. And what that looks like is before the year even starts, start thinking about what places you want to go to and how you can make it happen in your budget. That requires a bit of sacrifice. You got to figure out what things you are willing to sacrifice to make travel a priority. Because the thing about having priorities is that not everything can be a priority. So a priority is one or two things that you're going to be taking seriously. And for me, that means my portfolio and my passport. So the second way that I build my net worth, all while being able to travel the world, is that I make investing my first and top priority. So I do this by automating my investments. And what this looks like is that I put investing at the forefront. So when I get my paycheck or my source of income, I always make sure that I'm putting at least, at minimum, 10% of my income to my investment account so that I always feel that my investments are being paid first. So those come as a first priority. Travel is my second priority. And the cool thing is that I don't feel as guilty about taking trips and traveling the world because I know that I've already covered my first and top priority of financial freedom, of filling my portfolio, of investing before travel. The next thing I want to touch on is this idea of travel is expensive. I truly don't believe that travel is always expensive. It doesn't have to be expensive. It depends on your mindset about how travel works for you. So you need to think about, are you being an intentional travel or are you being an irresponsible traveler? So what the difference is for me is an intentional traveler puts travel at the priority of their goals. An intentional traveler thinks about the places that they want to travel to before the year even starts and starts putting money aside into a travel fund to be able to fund those experiences. An intentional traveler knows just how much discretionary income they have coming in and how much of that can be dedicated to travel before they even book the flight. You need to know how much money you have left over to incorporate to travel. Based on that amount of money that you have left over, you can design your travel around that. So let's say after you invest in your investing accounts and you've paid your bills, that you have about $5,000 left for the year. That tells you that you are able to either go on one big trip that costs $5,000, or if you want to optimize that $5,000, then you can break that $5,000 up into 2, 3, or even 4 trips if you're that crafty. An intentional traveler needs to know how much money is coming in, how much is going to be left and assigned to travel, and how they're going to break up that amount of money that they have left over across 1, 2, 3, or even 5 different trips. On the contrary, an irresponsible traveler is one that is just spontaneous about their travel experiences. A person that just books a trip and doesn't actually do the research on what they should be paying for that trip. An irresponsible traveler is a person that travels beyond their means, meaning they just book a flight and they figure it out after the fact. I don't work like that. An irresponsible traveler does not take investing seriously. They are the people that just book flights whenever they want to go somewhere, and they haven't made sure that they optimize their portfolio in a way that ensures that their portfolio is the first thing being invested in for every single paycheck and every source of income that they receive. An irresponsible traveler is not aware of how much discretionary income they have left over for travel. An irresponsible traveler doesn't have a sinking fund, doesn't have any awareness of how the trip that they book is going to impact them financially. Do not be this person. If you want to be able to balance building your net worth all while stamping up those passports in a way that is sustainable, that allows both areas to grow, then you need to make sure that you are being a responsible traveler. The next thing I want to touch on about how you can build your net worth all while seeing the world is making sure that you do not touch your investment portfolio. I can't stress this enough. This is like a little money commitment / money rule that I have for myself, where any money that has already been invested into my Wealthsimple account or into my investment accounts, that money does not get to be withdrawn for travel. And by simply adopting that rule alone, I almost like categorize my money in a way where I'm able to better control it. I have this money that is being invested to my future, and I have that money that is dedicated to discretionary expenses, travel, beauty, things like that. So please do not go into your investment account to fund your travel. That is only going to set you back financially and make it much harder to build wealth. So if you have already assigned that money to your investment account, you need to leave it there. You do not take it out for travel. So I want to be realistic with you guys. Have I said no to trips because of finances? Yes. Does that mean that I actually do not have the dollar amount in my account to go to certain countries? No, because I actually do have the money to go to the countries that I want to go to. But am I always going to go to those countries? No, because I want to make sure that my investment accounts are being paid first. So for example, I want to go to the Maldives. I have the money in my account to go to the Maldives tomorrow. But am I going to book the Maldives? No, because it does not align with my goals currently for financial wealth. But could I go to a place that is more affordable at this time for me? Yes. That's why I'm able to travel to countries like Mexico, like countries within South America that are more within my budget. So I want you to to reframe your mind about how you approach travel. Just because you feel like you maybe can't afford the countries that you want to go to, or just because there are countries that are outside of your budget, doesn't mean that there aren't countries within your budget. So figure out how you can start hitting those countries that you can afford right now until you get to the place that you feel comfortable to incorporate the countries that are a bit more expensive or out of your budget into your travel plans. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you loved this video, please hit like and subscribe for more videos about how we can balance building our wealth while also collecting stamps in our passport. Thank you so much for watching, y'all. Peace.